So, Amarant, you never technically dated in Japan, did you?
Um, yeah, that's yeah, not really. Um, at least not a Japanese person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the one kind of relationship that I was in was not going to lead anywhere. So,
Yeah, so these questions that we have here won't really fit, but maybe you can answer them from more of like a general perspective.
yeah.
It's like, have you ever had to struggle with compromising who you were to date someone?
Mm, um, so in doing my podcast and like talking to a lot of other Black girls about dating in Japan.
Mhm.
Um, it seems like there's definitely been a trend of like um, not that you would have to compromise, but just like the dating world in Japan was not a good suit for who they were as a person,
Mhm.
um, especially like being seen as hypersexual um, and things like that. Um, there was a guy that I went on a date with who was very much into Black culture. Um, and like he had mentioned that he wanted to be Black. He was
Okay.
like, if I, um, could be, reborn, I'd want to come back as a Black person. And it was just like, I know absolutely zero people who want to be a Black person. Um, so I think you like need to like look a little bit deeper
Yeah.
or,
It's
you
a
know,
disconnect that they have because it's weird too because as you said, they see negative things about us, but yet still we're still so glorified in other ways that you would almost want to be black. But then when you actually think about it, and if you actually were black, you realize it's not always chopped up to be at times.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think they in many ways fetishize Black culture.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It's like we see Black people like everything they do is, especially like in art or anything that involves creativity, is like so amazing and so
Hmm.
like it looks like they're always having fun. Kinda like when you
Yeah.
see them on screen, like they're like having fun.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So it's like, man, I want to be a part of that. Like all the coolest dances that I know is from a Black person. All the best music that I like, well, not all, most of the best music that I like is from Black people. Poetry, stories, etc. Like I feel like people see this, or even like just non-art stuff. Like when you go to a movie theater and you're watching a movie, and the Black people in there are like hyping it up.
Yeah.
Or if you're a comedian, like I've heard comedians say when they have a Black audience, like the vibe is just so different compared to like a white
Hmm.
audience, because
Yeah.
the Black people will literally get out their chairs and like hoot and holler and make
Yeah.
a scene, and it makes it more fun for them as a comedian or whatever
Yeah.
performer on stage,
Hmm.
because they can actually tell the audience is enjoying themselves.
Yep.
So I feel like Black people, generally speaking, when people look at us, like it's like despite all the hardship and all the other BS in the world, we still find like ways to enjoy ourselves and make things like better.
I agree.
And I think that's what people see, and then
Hmm.
that's what they want, but then they don't want any of the bad stuff that comes with it, or they don't recognize that there's other stuff that comes with that.
Hmm.
Right. I definitely think it's like um Black people are a more expressive population.
Hmm.
And that's just because like we've had to be, it comes out of that racism and history of like slavery and things like that, where we've had to find creative ways to express ourselves. Um, and when we show support, we have to show support.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
where like we don't really have. the luxury of being ambivalent or quiet,
Yeah.
basically.
Mhm.
So I think that's one thing that like people, they just see the surface, you know, and they don't want to look deeper into like, well, why is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mino, can you answer the question about giving up parts of yourself for somebody that you were dating?
Oh man, I had a very varied background in dating and sexuality and all that stuff. And I would say, yeah, I have. Um, and that's as far as that answer goes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, for me, I'm not much of a like religious person, but I've had to go to church multiple times, like almost every week for people that I was dating, just because I don't know, it was like the right thing to do or a nice thing to do. I don't know. I've also had to stop using language in the way that I know to use language because people felt like I was trying to be smarter than them when I'm just speaking. So I had to dumb myself down for them as well. And
Uh,
yeah,
I've had to do that as well.
I believe that most men wouldn't like a woman to be smarter than them for some reason.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Um, I like, I guess as I've grown older and like tried to be more in the dating scene,
Mhm.
I've definitely had to work on things like code switching, um, or you know, performing my blackness.
Uh-huh.
Whereas I think like if anybody were just listening to me, like I would definitely, I would do very well on a phone interview.
Mhm.
Um, uh, you know, my name is very European. My style of speech is, you know, very much standard English.
Uh,
Yeah. um, I don't even know what I said. But like I mispronounced a word that sounded very, very Midwestern.
mhm.
I think I said like wagon or something weird like that. And I was just like, whoa,
Uh.
like that was too white for me. So
Yeah, we talked about code switching there before, and I don't really like it. I don't like the entirety of it. You know, like if you're trying to sound more professional, that's one thing. But when you say you're trying to sound less black and more white, that's when there's a real problem for me
yeah.
personally.
yeah. We
Well,
talked about codes. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like for me, like the code switching is definitely to sound more black than I
Mm.
did before. Because like all throughout middle school and high school, I was like definitely teased and a little
Oh,
bit
you tried to get
ostracized.
accepted into the black community more because of how you spoke.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was teased
But
and
we,
ostracized because I acted white, and I was like,
yep,
no, I just,
I knew it
Yeah,
was coming.
we talked about
yeah,
that.
I hate that so much. Why do we associate like, okay, this person is speaking in a more standardized way of English, so therefore they must be acting white. Like, I don't
Mhm,
know. I feel like a lot of times whenever someone is doing something people think is a positive trait, they associate it with whiteness. And
mhm,
then when people are doing something with a, I guess, less positive trait, not necessarily a negative, but just less positive,
mhm.
then they're like, oh, you're being black or you're being whatever.
Yeah.
And like,
hmm
it's just like they other you, you're othered if you're not doing the standard version, and then if you're doing the standard version, then you're trying to be white. And it's like, no, you can still be a marginalized person and talk in a standard way of speaking without
Mhm.
acting white. You're just acting like yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to internalized racism,
Mhm.
right?
Definitely.
So, like, if you're not exactly like us, then you're trying to be like them, and that's
Mhm.
unfortunately not always the case.
And that goes
Or
back
that's
years and
yeah.
years and years because we were made to hate them by them. So
Mhm.
we do.
Can't even
Well,
eat
not
pumpkin
personally.
pie.
What? I don't like pumpkin pie. I don't know what that means.
See? I can't be accepted into the black community because I like pumpkin pie. Just
Oh,
kidding. No,
pumpkin pie too white? I didn't know that.
I don't know that either.
No, I would just Kev. You guys know Kev on stage.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So he is a running joke with him where like he argues with his fan base because he doesn't like some pie that I guess is standard in black
Sweet
families.
potato pie, probably.
Yeah,
Sweet potato pie, yeah.
yeah. Like he preferred a different kind. I think he said pumpkin pie.
Hmm.
So it's like a
Oh,
running joke, like I'm still black even though I like pumpkin pie. You know,
okay.
that's what it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Um, I really enjoyed today's podcast. It's very light, even though it's dark at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of pumpkin pie.
Oh my gosh. Was there any times you guys had to teach someone something about your culture so that they could better understand you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys want to say more than yeah or after?
Yeah, we have to give examples. I know.
Okay. I can go first.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, there was that one guy who was like, I wish I was black.
Hmm.
Um, and I definitely had to like sit him down and be like, no, you don't. And here's why. um, and like I don't think he even like realized like the racism that's was inherent in Japan as well. And I think a lot of my Japanese friends didn't. Like I got in a huge online like battle about there was like a Chinese commercial where like a black man goes into the washing machine and comes out as a white man. And like I was just like it like when, Japanese people tell me that there's no racism in Japan.
Mhm.
And then like it was a huge thing where like people were posting like instances of blackface and um things like that. And it's just like, well, like again, walking into the grocery store and being like, I need help in Japanese and being told that they don't speak English. Like it's that's like a lot to teach and very difficult, I think. But then like also like teaching like dance and even learning dance. Like while I was in Japan, I was in a hip hop class, um, which was I think a little bit ironic, but because I went to a Japanese woman to teach me hip hop, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like how prolific dance and music is in the African and African American culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like there's been both like difficult and like good things about it as well.
Yeah, that's life, man.
Yeah.
Uh, teaching someone else about my culture. I would say, yeah, anytime I have like friends or even someone I'm dating and I bring them back home,
Hmm.
just telling them like how to um behave, I guess, like, because back home is like manners are a big thing, you know, saying good morning, good afternoon, good night when you enter a building
Yeah.
or enter a residency is important.
Yep.
Um, like I literally growing up got beat for not saying good morning, good afternoon, good night when I enter the house. Well, not beat, but I'll get sent back outside.
Do it again the right way.
Yeah, you forget something outside. That's what my grandma would say. Forget something outside. Um, or like in the islands, we're also like more direct. I feel than in America. Like we will just tell you straight up whatever we have to say.
Hmm.
And I feel like whenever I bring like foreign people, sorry, whenever I bring Americans home, they kind of get offended very easily from that because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this person is being rude.
Yeah.
But it's not really that they're being rude, it's just they're just being more direct than you're accustomed to.
Hmm.
Or even another thing that I kind of got unused to was people like being mean, but like not seriously being mean.
Hmm.
So one time I went home and this girl was this woman was a bartender and I'm trying to order my drink and she's being mean to me and I'm just like confused. And then I realized, oh, this is her way of flirting with me because she
Mm-hmm.
was like being mean. And then when I started being mean back, she was like smiling and laughing and I was like, this is so weird. But
Yeah.
like I had even forgotten about like that's a normal part
Mm-hmm.
of like the culture as well.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah. I think my biggest teaching would have to be like music and manners, like you said, because our music is not what this music is up here. It's like highly sexualized, and the words don't always sound like what they are. So you'd have to teach them what the song is actually saying before they can enjoy it, for the most part.
yeah.
And whenever I took a girl home that wasn't from home, it was like they would feel offended and sensitive about what's being said, but it's not like they mean anything bad by it. And I think that's one of the biggest culture blocks that we have, that we are more direct and we're just gonna tell you things straight up. Like, you don't eat? Like, that's not a bad thing. Just like you look a little bit skinny, you know?
Well, I mean, that's also like that's kind of a high context, low context type of thing too, because it's like
Hmm.
even then you didn't say like you're skinny.
Hmm.
You said you don't eat, like,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
and so that's that I think from a lower context, um, American standard, it's just kind of like, well, are you saying that I have a problem? Like, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whereas like if you're just like you're skinny, then they'd be like, oh, well, I don't know, I guess this is my preferred body type, or,
Mm.
you know, maybe I can, go on the seconds, it's fine,
But I mean, if you tell somebody that they're skinny, I think that's more offensive and direct than asking them if they don't eat, because that's more like a playful way.
Well, yeah, it's more playful, but
Yeah.
then you have to have somebody who knows how to receive it,
Yeah.
which
Exactly.
again is the
Hmm.
problem. Whereas, like
Yeah.
in the States, you don't eat could mean so many different things.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know, the good news is we have a word for people who look too skinny in the islands that I know Americans won't know, so we
Yeah.
could use that. Just be like, hey, you MAGA
You
man, like you need to
maga.
eat.
Man. And I feel like, thinking about this question, that there's also cultural differences within America itself, like South versus North, East versus West. Like, there's so
True.
much complexity here that anybody will go through this. 'Cause I think in the Notebook, the girl was from up north and the guy was from down south or something like that. But like, they had their own cultural things to go through as well.
The Notebook, the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never seen or read it, but yeah.
Okay. You should. I mean, you don't have
Yeah.
to.
I, I've
Yeah, it's
been
a
told on
decent one.
several occasions. It's a
Have,
decent movie.
Yeah. I think I tried. I'm not sure.
Oh.
I know I did.